to Rays of Hope this week. We are very glad that you are watching. Please remember that you can still stream live on Facebook and on YouTube, KAK TV Kenya. I'm Lucy Wawero and very, very happy to have you on board. Today, we are discussing the topic, preserving the marriage institution. Preserving the marriage institution. This is a very, very important topic and you don't want to miss, so you can ask your friends to also watch this because it's very, very important. Today, I'm very, very happy to be joined by our guest, and that is Mrs. Agnes Macharia. Very, very glad to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. And Mrs. Agnes Macharia is an insurance professional. She's also an author. She's authored a book, and part of our discussions will be based on that book. And she's also a wife, a mother, and a very proud grandmother. Very, very happy to have you here. Please say hi to the viewer.
Hello, viewers. I am happy to be here. It's a good moment to be with you here, and I am very, very happy for this opportunity just to be here and to discuss the marriage institution.
Wonderful. And of course, in the course of our discussions, we'll hear more about you. A bit of your story,
yes,
a bit of your experience,
yes,
even in the marriage institution.
True.
And we are looking forward to that. But as we move on, allow me to read from 1 Chronicles 29, verse number 15. 1 Chronicles 29, verse number 15. For we are strangers before you and sojourners, as all our fathers were. Our days on the earth are like a shadow, and there is no abiding. Now, this is very important. What David said, of course, this is in the context of building the house of the Lord.
Yes.
But then he feels so honored, and at the same time, so humbled that God could grant them the opportunity to build.
True.
And in the context of our discussion, we're talking about the marriage institution.
Yes.
We need, I think, to have this in mind, that it's such an honor to be allowed by God, who is the architect of the same, to be allowed to be co-creators, co-builders in that work. It's humbling. While we remember also that we are sojourners.
Yes.
We are strangers here.
Yes.
What does that verse speak to you?
This verse speaks to me a lot because many are the times that we are in life and we think that we have all the time in the world. And that's not the case because we are here for a time, and after that time we are gone. And therefore it is so important to take that situation, give it the all in all that you have, this marriage institution, give it the all in all because it is there for a short while. And then that's it.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So we must keep that in mind, even as we go about life and even in all aspects of life. Now, why I'm happy about this topic is because the work of Christian education actually starts with the family, because family is very key. So our area of focus is, first of all, the family, then the church, then the school, and then the marketplace. And therefore the family gives us the grounding. That's why it's so important, even in the work that we do as a church and as a department, teaching Christ-centered knowledge. We start in the church. And you have said, and that's where you've begun, and by the way, our viewer, this is the book that our guest has written. This is her latest book. She has done another book on finances. Insurance. And so this is her first book in the area of marriage, preserving the marriage institutions, and a beautiful book. So you begin by saying that marriage is one of the oldest institutions. Tell us more about that.
It is the oldest institution because we know that in Genesis, when God created man, he started with creating Adam. And after creating Adam, he thought, this man cannot stay alone. And therefore, he created Eve. And that was companionship. So, if we say that marriage is one of the oldest institutions, that is true. Because it is God who created it. He is the creator of the marriage institution, and he started it. And that is where it started. With Adam and Eve being there, and God finding, no, this man cannot stay alone. And therefore, it starts.
So it starts with God?
It starts with God.
It's not a human creation?
No. It is an institution that was created by God himself. Yes, that is something that is very profound in marriage.
Yeah.
Everything starts with God.
With God.
Yes.
And so if it starts with God, then he holds the manual.
Yes.
He knows how it ought to work.
Yes.
So we can go haywire, we can lose the mark.
Yes.
If we don't refer back.
Yes.
To the one who made it.
Who made it. And that is why in Revelations there's that issue of you are the firsts and the lasts. He is the beginning and the end. And so we have that confine of life. But I don't know what happens in life that once we are there, we are all over. We forget their boundaries. We forget that we are supposed to stay within the confines of what God would want us to do. Yes.
Wow, talking more about the confines, and that's something you've discussed.
Yeah.
He's the first and the last, the Alpha, the Omega.
Yes.
Beginning and the end.
Yeah.
So there are boundaries.
Yes.
That God has made. We are within the confines, whatever we do.
Yes.
Whether it's our career.
Yes.
Whether it's a marriage.
Yes.
Our ministries.
Yes.
Are within some confines.
Yes.
So how does that impact again in the marriage institution?
It impacts in the marriage institution in that when we are there, there is a way that we are supposed to live. And that is where also the issue of purpose comes in. Because God has a purpose for us as individuals. And one of the key purposes that I find is the issue of, worshiping him. God created us for a relationship. He created us to worship him. He loves us. Even after mankind did whatever they did and they did not live within what God wanted, he still gave us his son to die for me and you. And therefore it starts there. And then we now come to the issue of the purpose of marriage. What is the purpose of marriage? First of all, we see as you talked about the original story of Adam and Eve. God created the marriage institution for companionship. But are we staying within that confines of companionship? This is the things that we must ask ourselves. And these are some of the things which come out clearly and bring a lot of issues. Because you go into a marriage, you have a beautiful marriage, everything is so good, and here you are with your, with your new husband, with your new wife, and you are happy to have a companionship. But what happens? Some of them, the man may go out there, he stays with his friends there out for so long, and you are alone in the house. There is that I find sometimes is we forget. This girl did not get married just because maybe you have a house and you have very nice seats. No. Wherever she came from, she had that. But she came here for a companionship. And there, deep into the night, you are waiting for somebody who has not come. So that beats the issue of companionship. So talking about confines, you realize these are some of the issues which happen. Yeah, we fail even as we bring up our children, we fail to bring them up many times in the Christian way. What are we teaching them? Are we taking them to church? Are they learning what is good and what should happen? So, talking about confines, there are many confines and many boundaries that we should take care of.
And actually, Madam, we are in a generation that doesn't like that idea because we have an idea about freedom that is like it's absolute, which is really not true.
Yes.
That you can have freedom without boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think we forget that there are boundaries, there are confines within which we must operate. Yes. And I like the idea you brought about the overarching purpose of life.
Yes.
Is to please God.
Yes.
Is to worship God.
Yes.
And therefore, even in the marriage institution, it is supposed to contribute.
Yes.
And because two are better than one,
true,
then the worship should be more.
True, it should be more. And you see, when you get married, you come into a wider family. You leave your family, your husband leaves, his family, and you come here and you have a wider family. Because now you have this family where you have gotten married, then there is the other family. So actually, when you get into the marriage institution, you realize that God has given you a lot of space within which to serve the people who are from the other family and to serve the people who are from this other family. And of course, God blesses us with children, although not everybody is blessed with them, and in the marriages. And therefore now you have your core family, you have your extended family on this side, you have your extended family, and therefore that issue of serving is given its place in the marriage institution. It comes out perfectly, perfectly well. Yes, because now you have a wider space within which to serve the Lord.
Well, and therefore the constraints within which we must operate don't mean restrictions where we feel like we are strangled.
True.
Because talking about confines, it might feel like we are confined in a place where, you know, in modern day language, I need to breathe.
Yes.
So that's not the kind of a confine they're talking about.
Yes.
The space is wide.
Yes.
To serve God.
Yes.
To prosper.
Yes.
And to grow.
And to grow. And to grow. To grow in your Christian values. And when we are in these marriages and we do the right thing, you know, as parents, we are role models. And I think that one is very key. Children learn more from what they hear, from what they see. Yes, from what they see than what they hear. So as we bring them up, what are they seeing? You cannot tell your child not to take wine, and you're stocking wine right in your fridge. Definitely, a child, and this is one of the sad facts, that what a parent does, a child finds that is okay. And therefore, as we talk about confines, what we do, we may tell the child, I'm doing this, but this is bad. But definitely, what mommy is doing, what daddy is doing, is okay.
It's the right thing.
It's the right thing. Yeah. And therefore, you cannot now start telling the child no. And therefore, this now becomes another challenge. We want to do this, but we don't want our child to do this. But that is the environment. It brings up the issue of the environment. The environment in which you're bringing up your children will definitely affect what they do. Even when they get married, what you're doing in your home, when they go there, they want to practice that. Yes.
So perhaps what we see with each generation is what they have also picked from the previous generation. Now, you've talked about marriage not being a rehearsal.
Yes.
Really? Don't you think there should be some years for just trying?
I don't think so. I don't think so, Reverend Lucy, there, because you realize that many times we come into marriage and we start it, we just move on. We just move on. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a marriage. In a marriage, you're supposed to plan it, to be deliberate about it. How do you want your marriage to be? How do you want your children to be? How are you taking care of your spouse as a lady? How is the man taking care of you? Those are very key issues in the marriage institution. And sometimes you just find people relaxing. There are very many people, many ladies out there, many men out there who would like to have wives, who would like to have, you know, husbands. And yet you who God has blessed with one, you are not able to take good care of them. Yes, we fail in that area. And then you realize after that, sometimes you hear ladies saying, hey, Baba so and so used to be so good. I don't know what happened. And probably in the home there is no peace. It can be both ways. It can be both ways, because for you to stay in an environment and feel, I want to go home and find my wife there, it is because she welcomes you home, you feel warm, you can be able to discuss with that lady what you want to discuss. But again, another problem comes in, because ladies can be very critical. And what happens is that men look at the issue of their tasks. A man knows that I have a task, I have a family to bring up, I have to bring the bread home. And therefore, if he comes and discusses with you something and you start criticizing, he will stop discussing with you. And therefore, the environment now becomes, I'm not told anything, and you start. So I think it is very, very important to be deliberate in marriage, and even to be deliberate with your children, to have quality time with your children, to teach them what they are supposed to do, and make sure that that name, deliberate and intentional, is very, very key. Ukiona vimeelea, vimeundwa. Yeah, don't just think things happen in marriage. You may say, hey, I admire so-and-so's marriage. But let me tell you the work that goes behind that. It's what makes it be there. So that one is okay. And so there is that issue of knowing that it is not a rehearsal. One day there will be separation. Because ideally, marriage is supposed to last a lifetime, although we know it does not in some cases it does. And therefore, when you are there, enjoy the moments. Enjoy the moments. Be deliberate. Yes.
With intentionality.
Yes, the intentionality.
Things don't just happen.
No.
As they say, if you find a, what do you call this slow animal?
The tortoise.
The tortoise.
Yes.
If you find a tortoise on the table, someone has put it there. Put it there.
Yes.
So there's some work that needs to be done. So what you're saying, the intentionality about marriage and making it work, is that it should not start after 100 days.
No.
From day one, it's work.
It's work.
And it's moving full throttle.
Yes.
So you don't postpone until maybe you get a better job, until you have a bigger house, until this and this happens, then you start being nice, you start working at it.
Yes.
Because maybe that's where the problem is. People think there is time to try things out.
Yeah.
There's time to fake it.
Yes. That faking it.
Until it's real.
Yeah.
So there's no faking it.
Yes.
It's not a rehearsal.
No, it's not a rehearsal. Once you're there, you start your job. And you realize that marriage is shorter than you thought. I remember when my children were young, you'd come home and they are all over your clothes and they want to check if the uchumi. That time the paper bags were okay. You know, we used to have the uchumi paper bag. What has mommy brought? And after some time, they are no longer there.
It's an empty nest.
It's an empty nest. They are gone. And that is why one of the things I tell people when we meet with the younger people who are having small children, of course my children are big now, is enjoy each moment. It's not going to come back. It's not going to come back. And that is one reason why I really enjoy my grandchildren. When they come home, it is a place they can remove the cushions of the seats. They ask me, Granny, grandmother, Shushu, can we get a blanket? They can do what they want.
Because it doesn't last forever.
No, it
doesn't.
Yeah, so I enjoy that when they come and do that. Because they are no longer there.
Yeah.
And now you start looking for opportunities to have them. Maybe have a breakfast, come for lunch, you know, because they are not there.
Yeah.
It's me and my husband
in
the house.
Yeah.
So I tell people that this period of stress of children, school and all this, before you know it, it's gone.
It's over.
It's over.
It's gone. And it will be very sad if we miss the moments.
Yes.
The opportunities,
Yeah.
thinking it's not real, we are faking it. Thinking it's a rehearsal,
Yeah.
that we are going to now have the real drama
Yes.
or the real thing much later. Then the moments pass us by,
Yes.
and then we realize the value of something
Yes.
when we have lost it.
When you have lost it.
And there's a sad story that that I read about actually in social media about this lady who frantically tried to reach the husband on phone. She was coming from church, it was on a Sunday, and she had an asthmatic attack. And the husband was like, not again. Why is she calling? Why is she calling? So he didn't pay attention. Sad ending. She passed on.
Oh.
Only to realize she had tried to reach out.
Yes.
So it would be nice to take every moment to be God-given. And in any case, any new day is a day when God renews his mercies
Yes.
and faithfulness. It is new. It is new. We need to be happy about
We
it.
need to be happy about it and to be deliberate about it. And I know there are many times, and not all people,
Yeah.
but there are many people who see the phone, maybe it's the husband, huyu naye sumbua, anataka nini? Just like the story you're giving right now. And you forget there are very many people out there who would have liked to have that husband. So actually, I say that the right attitude is to say, thank you, God, for having given me a husband. Thank you, God, for having given me a wife. I am happy that I can talk to someone. And therefore, I think it's also about reminding yourself. I have told you I'm in that stage when we are the two of us in the house. And when my husband comes in the evening, I'm looking forward. If I've been working from home, I'm looking forward for him to come. And I ask myself when I'm cooking, if I was cooking this food just for myself, and there are very many people who are doing that, what would happen? You know? So it's good to be appreciative, to hear that knock and get someone coming.
Wow.
Be appreciative.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. Be appreciative, because you don't even know it's temporary. We read in the book of First Chronicles, you know, David appreciating the temporarity of things.
Yes.
That he is grateful for the opportunity to serve, for the opportunities to add value, for the opportunity to be used of God.
Yes.
And I think that's the same attitude that people should have.
Yes.
The opportunity to have a family
True.
is an opportunity.
It's an opportunity.
And it's not going to last forever.
No, it's not going to
It's
last.
just for a moment. So we want to, before we take a break, we would want you to just start introducing yourself.
Yes.
Then we'll continue with that, because who is Agnes Macharia? Perhaps someone is wondering. Who is Agnes Macharia?
Yeah.
And it would be nice to hear.
Okay, fine. Agnes Macharia is a wife, is a mother of grown-up children. Agnes Macharia is a grandmother, because our children are all in their marriages, and therefore I have grandsons and I have granddaughters. We are really blessed.
And you look so young.
Thank you. Thank you. It's God's grace. Agnes Macharia is also an insurance professional. I have been an insurance broker for a long, long time, and I have a passion in my career, insurance. And because of that, I serve in the Insurance Institute of Kenya Executive Council. And currently, I'm the director of the Insurance Institute of Kenya.
Just hold on.
Yes.
Because that's interesting. We want to hear more about that. Because you're not just passionate about marriage, you're not just passionate about, you're also a professional, but who, because of your faith in God, you know, takes the God's purposes seriously, and you want to see people happy. And that's something you've also tried, and it works. So hold on there. Dear viewer, we want to take a very short break, because we want to hear part of her story, and later on we want to talk about, you know, what are the enemies of marriage, and what are the secrets of having a successful marriage. I'm sure you want to hear that. So we take a very short break. We will be right back.
Tunasikitika kutangaza kifo cha Petronila Catherine Murungi ambaye alikuwa mwalimu katika shule ya msingi ya Mugae Hill. Petronila ni mtoto wa marehemu Matthews Miriti na Edvige Matia na mkaza mwana wa marehemu David Musheke na Edith Musheke. Ni mkewe Elias Murungi na mamake mzazi wa Rhoda Ngatha, Samson Kimathi, Naomi Kendi na Sami Mutugi. Marehemu ni mama mkwe wa James na Lynette. Petronila ni dadake Pascalina Riungu, marehemu Florence Memo, Justa Galgalo, Anne Kinyamu, Peter Mudhengi, Caroline Kananu, Rose Kisha na Josephat Murungi. Marehemu ni shemeji yake marehemu Simon Kinywa, Gerevasco Gitari, Florence Musheke, Masi Moria, Faith Gitonga, Catherine Kathure na Bernard Mutua. Petronila ni nyanyake Foy Wanjiku, Seth Koome, Abigail Kathure, Edna Kadhambi, Natalia Wanjiru na Naserian Kanana. Mwili wake utaondolewa katika chumba cha kuhifadhia maiti cha hospitali ya PCA Chogoria Jumanne ya tarehe 8 mwezi huu saa 3:30 asubuhi. Ni baada ya mazishi kufanyika nyumbani kwake kaunti ya Meru, eneo la Kirone, kijiji cha Mugae. Kutoka chumba cha habari cha KAK tunawapa jamii na marafiki pole. Clive Ivan College is located in PCA Chogoria Hospital in Chogoria Town. It was founded on Christian values and ethics in the year 1951 as a nursing training college. It is also accredited by the Nursing Council of Kenya and TVET. The college offers diploma in Kenya Registered Community Health Nursing with intake every March and September every year. The minimum qualifications for diploma in Community Health Nursing are KCA C Min Grade C Plain, Biology C Plain, English and Kiswahili C Plain, Chemistry, Physics and Mathematics C minus. Accommodation for students is available and the schooling is also allowed. March and September 2021 intake is ongoing. Application forms can be obtained at the principal's office at Clive Ivan College of Nursing Chogoria Hospital or through the hospital's website, that is www.pcachogoriahospital.org, upon payment of an unrefundable fee of Kenya shillings 1,000. For more information, contact the principal through the phone number 0717138452.
Welcome back. Today on Rays of Hope, we are discussing preserving the marriage institution, and we have in studio Mrs. Agnes Macharia, who is quite passionate about this topic, this important topic in life, and we're glad that you are still with us. Keep it there, and remember also our social media platforms where you can drop in your comments and views about our program. That's KAK TV Kenya on Facebook and KAK TV Kenya on YouTube. We are streaming live there. Mrs. Macharia, yes. We went for break at the point where you were telling us about your insurance career and that you are the director of the insurance. Please tell us about that.
Okay, yes. I am the director of the Insurance Institute of Kenya. And I've done insurance for a long time, and as a broker, insurance broker. Mm-hmm. And because of that passion for my insurance profession, that is why I have been serving. At the moment, we are trying to to get the insurance industry legally recognized. We are not yet legally recognized as the insurance industry. And I hope those who are in the insurance industry who are listening to this will support the legal recognition of the Insurance Institute. It is something that we've been working on. We would want it to happen so that our insurance industry can expand and we can work as professionals, because many are the times when a lot of things are coming up, we need to, you know, to discipline the members and have the right conduct. And for me, I think even after that, when we are legally recognized, I will feel that I have done justice to the insurance professional.
And not just legally recognized.
Yeah.
When we,
Yes.
the lay people,
Yes.
understand your work.
Yes.
Because hapo kuna kizungumkuti we actually don't understand.
Yeah.
We think insurers they're just like us when we are subscribing.
Yes.
We have that. So I think we will be looking for you
Yes.
one of these fine days
Yes.
to expound more on the insurance industry.
True.
Because there's a lot that we don't understand,
Yes.
actually.
Yes.
There's a lot that we don't understand. But now you're very passionate on insurance, and you have even more passion on matters about marriage.
Yes.
How comes that you've even written a book, other than your other books on like insurance?
Yes.
You've even written a book on the marriage institution and
Yes.
preserving it. Why is
Yes.
it so important for you?
I think it is very important for me because, as we said, and I like where you started about the issue of foundation, that is where the foundation of everything starts, in the marriage. When I was in my marriage, when I got married, my husband was doing sales, and he was traveling all over the country, Mombasa, and name it, when we were also bringing up our children. And I realized that the man is also very important in the home, as opposed to what sometimes we say that we went to Beijing and we can, you know, survive on our own. I realized that I could not take him for granted, because I could see the difference between when he is at home and when he is not. And therefore, marriage has been very, very important, and has been an area where I know a lot of things. If things are done properly in the marriage institution, if the foundation of marriage is good, there are so many other things which are happening which are not right, which will not happen. And we know the marriage has got an enemy. The enemy is not passionate about marriage like God is. And therefore, the enemy looks for just a small place that they can put their feet in the marriage. And once they have put their feet there, they want to continue doing whatever they want. Why? Because once you destabilize the marriage institution, the wife goes this side, the husband goes this side, the children go that side. They don't know who to choose. Do I choose to be with mommy? Do I choose to be with daddy? Now conflict arises. And therefore I am passionate, because I know when it works, then a lot happens. And even as I say that, I want to be very humble and say, even those marriages which are not working currently, there is hope. The marriages can work. Marriages can work. People can sit. The issue of forgiveness is very important in marriages, because we should forgive. And I know one thing I like about God is that God forgives and cleanses. God forgives and forgets. And he chooses to remember the good things you do. And therefore, there are some things that can be worked on. And I always feel so good when something is worked on, and then you find that we are back there.
Wow.
Yeah. So marriage is critical.
It's critical, it's foundational.
It's foundational.
It's the foundation upon which everything else either
Moves.
stands or falls.
You have said it.
That's why even as a church we begin there.
Yes.
Family, then church, school, you
The
know,
rest.
and the rest.
Yes.
They're all built on that.
They are built
It
on
makes or breaks.
the foundation.
It's very, very important.
Very,
and I
very
like the
key.
balance in your book,
Yeah.
because you said that, you know, ideally
Yes.
the marriage should work.
Yes.
But you have dedicated a chapter on God cares even for the separated.
Oh,
Can you say
yes.
something about that?
Oh, yes, I can say
Because not
that.
all will
Yes.
really work, because we are human.
God really cares even for those who are separated.
Mm-hmm.
And we know even when you go to the Bible, God is really passionate about orphans. God is really passionate about widows. Even men whose wives have died, He's very passionate
Even
about them.
Haggai on her way out
Yes.
of the
Oh,
home.
Exactly.
Hagar.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hagar, yeah.
we are saying that God really cares for those who are separated. And we even know in the Bible, if you wrong the widows, there is an issue. We have to treat widows with a lot of respect. And therefore, God really cares for even those who are separated, and He's their God. He's their God. And therefore, it is very, very important for us to realize that we need to know that God is there, and God would even have a rescue plan. And this reminds me about the Red Sea experience. You remember at the Red Sea was ahead, and the Egyptian army was behind.
Yeah.
And from where the children of Israel were, they could not imagine how they are going to get out of this quagmire.
Between a rock and a hard place.
Yes, and that is why they were saying all things, I wish we died where we were. You know, it was really a tense moment. But God stopped the Red Sea. And that is why I know there is a hope. There is a hope. God can stop that Red Sea in that marriage, and you get to the other side safely. Yes,
God
but we
is
need
able.
also to pray about it. We need to fight for our marriages. We need to work and not give up. Yes,
Don't give up.
don't give up.
And this show is about hope.
Hope.
We encourage,
Yes.
you know, and inspire.
Yes,
Courage, resilience, and hope. Because those are very key.
very, very
Those
key.
are very key. Before we talk about the enemies of marriage, and also have you share what are the secrets then of keeping this marriage, you know, healthy
Yes,
and moving.
yes,
Let's talk about purity, because that's something you've addressed.
yes.
Is purity a confine? Because remember we started with
The
confines.
confine issue.
For the unmarried, what is purity? Or does it also continue in marriage?
Yes.
Please tell us.
And I think I like the way you bring up the issue of purity, because many times when we talk about purity, we think about the purity of not, you know, engaging in sex before marriage and engaging in sex when you are married. You know, that is not a no-go zone. You are not supposed to. But there is also the purity of pursuing godliness. Our God is holy. And therefore, we need to pursue Him in that. We need to pursue the things that God cares about.
It's about worship.
The things, yeah, it's about worship. It's about, you know, being desirous, if I can, I'm looking for a word, desirous to do what God would want to do us. And I like going to the simple example of when Jesus was on this world, or was in this world, He was out there. He was looking at the less fortunate. He was looking at the hungry. He was looking at the sick. We can even remember the story of Martha and Mary and their brother who died and how He brought him to life. That humility, that issue of pursuing what is important to God is part of the purity story. And therefore now when we talk about the purity, in that line we should look at it on a wide scope. And then when we come now to the issues of marriage, we are supposed to be pure even before we go into our marriages. But that's not what is happening, and you know it. There is a lot of distractions out there. And therefore, that purity, we should also know that this purity, you cannot manage to remain pure on your own. You need God to help you to remain pure. It's a journey that you cannot do on your own. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it's before marriage?
Before marriage.
And even in marriage?
In marriage, when
Yeah.
you are married,
Yes.
you are not supposed now again to engage in sex outside marriage.
No. So there's a confine again.
There is a confine
We are
again.
operating within confines.
Yeah, within the confines.
And it's God who gives the confines. Now, the viewer must be wondering, when are we going to get into this? Like the gist of the matter, the gist
Yes.
of the show.
Yes.
Because everyone acknowledges their challenges.
Yeah.
Marriages are under attack.
Yes.
The family,
Yes.
as a family, God ordained, is actually under attack. In very many ways. Even the definition of marriage itself is under attack.
True.
With a lot of, post-modernity and all these other issues.
Yes.
Now, what are the enemies? If you can just speak quickly on that. The
quickly
enemies
on that.
of marriage.
I think I'll go to the internal. There's an internal enemy.
Yeah.
There is an external enemy.
Yeah.
And also the world out there is part, of course, of the external enemy. When we talk about the internal enemy, is our sinful nature. As human beings, we have the sinful nature in us. And I think the story that I like remembering very well is this story of when Jesus was just about to be crucified, and he went with the disciples to the Garden of Gethsemane. And he wanted them to pray because the hour had come for him to be taken by the enemy. But the sinful nature, the comfort you like, you want to be there. And so every time he came, they were asleep. Their nature had taken over. So there are those issues. There are those issues that we want to remain in our comfort zone. You are there, you have neighbors. You don't know what is happening. Maybe you don't even pray about. You are just comfortable. You don't want noise. You are not going out of the way like Jesus used to go out of the way. And therefore, we are supposed to get out of our comfort zone. As we said, we pursue what matters to God. And then from there, of course, there is the external enemy. The external enemy is there. And out there, even in these marriages that we are talking about, there could be somebody who is coming to spoil your marriage from out there. And you may think is your good friend. You are very close. You know, like ladies are very good at talking. And you are telling somebody here, this is what is happening, this is what is happening. And you think they are your friends, and they are not. And so that person is there, is a friend, but they are not your friend. They are your enemies, but you don't know. And in life, you bring people as close to yourself as you want. People cannot, come up to here if you have not allowed them.
Oh, that's interesting. We allow.
Yeah, we allow. People come into our lives as far as we allow them. And therefore, who is that person that you are so confident with? Is your friend? You are always with them? Are they being good? That's an external. Look at the world. The world is out there. The media. What is happening? The dance moves. Whatever is happening there on the media, we are watching. The dances, and what happens to our children, we are watching with them. And therefore, when they see so-and-so is doing this, is doing this kind of moves, then they see this is the right thing to do. You see? So, because that is what they are exposed to, what environment are we exposed to? That is also an enemy. Yes, innocent girls, and you find sometimes, depending on which side of the road you go, they go out with friends. Maybe you have never taken wine, Reverend, and you go with friends and they tell you, you have never taken wine, nothing can happen to you. And therefore, innocent as you are, you're there. And before you know it, you are being lifted and taken up to, maybe you live in a flat up there. You didn't even know how you got there. You don't know what could have happened to you between that time and when you went there. So this is the world in which we are. What are we doing as a family to ensure that our home, our environment is safe?
is within the confines.
Is within the confines.
Wow. Now let's get to the secrets then.
Yeah.
Having identified the enemies, internal, external, and the world in general. And there's a big challenge out there.
True.
What are the secrets then you can start sharing?
I think I can start sharing and saying one thing is very profound here: the love of God. Many are the times when we are going out there, even when we are looking for our life partners and you are looking for somebody to complete you. But it must start with God. You need to start with God, because God is the first and the last, as we said, and He is the only one who can be able to complete you. So complete that lady, complete that man, and as you meet, you are complete, both of you. Because sometimes we go and start saying you are going to be completed. So I think one of the things is love. And we know even in the Bible we are told that love is important, and we know that love does what for it covers
a multitude of sins.
Yeah, it covers for a multitude of sins, and therefore that is where we should
God
start.
is love.
And God is love, and therefore that is one of the areas you must think about. That love. When you have love, then things we should be able to work out. And also, when you coming to talk of the secrets of marriage, you need to stop fighting each other and fight the enemy. Because I told you, God is passionate about marriage, but the enemy is not. Hates marriage with a passion. The enemy hates marriage with a passion.
With a passion. I think we need to know that.
Yes. Yeah. Simon Bevy, in his book, Gideon's Action, he talks about how, you know, the enemy hates marriage with a passion. With a passion. And therefore, what are you able to discern the enemy? Instead of fighting each other, fight the enemy. And I'm going to tell you this about discernment. Sometimes you can have an argument with your husband. It's just a very small argument. Not because he's bad and not because I am bad. But it's just a small argument because we don't think the same, and we can try to do different things. We can use different methods to do the same things. But when you are having this argument, the enemy will be telling you, because he works very well with the mind, sasa hata huyu mulitoana na yeye wapi, you know. And the husband will, the enemy will also be telling, if these are the wives, you know. So you really get worked up. And because you are not discerning that it is the enemy who is coming to exaggerate things, you start fighting each other. So that's why I have said in my book, instead of fighting each other, fight the common enemy. And you need to
fight
discern.
the enemy together.
Fight the enemy together. Yeah, discern the enemy. Discern when the enemy is coming. Then, of course, there is the issue of the place of sex in marriage. That one is very important.
Which is never talked about.
Which is never talked about.
Yeah.
And but the Bible talks very well about it. That the sex has got its place in marriage. As a lady, my body is not my body belongs to my partner. As the husband, his body belongs to me. There is that in the Bible, because you must, fulfill the needs of each other. But what happens when issues are not working well? You find that people start punishing each other. So because things are not happening well and this is happening, so I will refuse to submit. Your husband may refuse to submit. And it can go on. And that is where the enemy likes to work. When things are this side and this side, the enemy is very happy and will want that to continue. He will be very happy for that to continue. So what happens after a long time? One of you will go out and say, I can't do without sex anymore. And therefore you now find out.
And the external environment is still there.
The external
challenging.
It's challenging. And there are very many people there who are waiting.
Who are waiting.
Yeah. And remember we said you have your husband there But there are very many who do not have out there.
Yeah.
And they, you know, those, then when you are disappointed and you go out there, the world is waiting like this. And therefore what happens? Then now you start, the issue of purity gets out. Because now one of you may go out there and start engaging in sex out there. And then the rest you cannot control.
Doesn't make the thing better.
Yeah, it doesn't make things better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it continues. It continues. Yeah. And so even when this person comes, now you know this person is moving out, you want nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
You don't want. First of all, you have been disrespected.
Yeah.
Number two, now there's the issue of diseases and so many other things.
Yeah.
And therefore that standoff is what the enemy celebrates. Yes.
You've also talked about the place of each person
Yeah.
in marriage,
Yes.
where the husband takes headship,
Yes.
which is actually about love,
Yes.
and love which is against submission,
Yes.
and the wife also submitting. Can you just talk about that in a minute?
Okay. Yeah, I think I need to talk about that because from where I sit, many of the problems we have is the headship role as it is in the Bible. You find that it is not happening in very many marriages. And so when it is not happening, we know very well that the man is the head of the family and the wife is the helper. And so that issue, there is the issue of the man should love his wife like his own body. And then the wife is supposed to submit. And when these two do not work, then definitely there is a problem. There has been a lot of reversal of roles in the marriage institution, in many marriage institutions. And I remember there is a time we were discussing with one of my nieces and we were wondering, what went wrong, Auntie? She was asking me, what went wrong, Auntie? And we realized that there has been the issue of absence of men in the home, but not all of them. And I say this with a lot of humbleness because I know, and especially the young generation, I want to say this, from where I sit, I see them having the emotional attachment with their children and, you know, bringing them up together. But where this does not happen, and this child is now with the father, I mean with the mother in the house cooking. So even if it is a boy, is only seeing the mom, the mother. And so, and you know there is a difference. How you bring up a girl is not how you bring up a boy. You see, there is a difference. And so what happens, this boy starts admiring mama, the mother. And after that, you realize that what happens is this. Once now he comes to another age of now getting married, and you know, girls like to be pampered, to be loved and all that. So instead of this man going to be a responsible family man, because they were always with the mommy here, you may find that we are having a crop of men who want to be taken care of.
He's one now
to be pampered. Yeah, instead of now the headship role coming out clearly, it becomes an issue. It doesn't work. Yeah, so those are some of the
I think that's why
issues.
we're encouraging, even as churches, that right from home, yes, and even in the church environment, like you find that most of the church school teachers are women. We need men. It's not a women thing. We need men and women together, raising families, giving, transferring, values, the right values to children and young people, and it's a collabo.
A good balance.
Needs to be a good balance.
Yeah.
Now,
allow me to add something because I think this something is very important for the married couples. There are times that we take offense. There is something in the book that I have called "See the Love Behind the Anger." You may get angry because your husband told you, hey, you came late and all this. But really, it's not that he has an issue with you, it's because he cares. That's why he's telling you, my dear, don't be coming late, because he knows what can happen. So that is what I'm talking about in the book, as see the love behind the anger. Because sometimes we just blow out, you are telling me this, and you're not seeing this person cares. That's why he's telling me. So let's see behind.
Wow. See the love
behind the anger.
Behind the anger.
Yes.
You know, the protection.
The protection.
The possessiveness.
Yes.
You know, behind.
The care.
The care.
Yeah.
Behind that anger.
Yes.
And I think I want you to just give some hope to the viewer.
Yeah.
In like a minute as we wind up.
Yeah.
Because we want to inspire hope, resilience, and courage.
Yes.
To that person who thinks it's not working. Yes. And especially the younger people. Yes. What would you say?
I want to really encourage, especially even the younger people, and tell them that there is hope. There is hope when we have the intention. There is hope because, you know, like a long time ago, we never used to have like premarital counseling and all that. And I'm seeing it happening. And it is really helping even the young people. At least you know something about marriage before you go into it. As we just used to go there, and now you start discovering things as they happen. But there is a lot of that. And I really thank God for what the churches are doing in that area, bringing it out. And then I also like the way now I am saying that there's something I like about the new generation being purposeful. There are these courses about bringing up children, and I really encourage them. So you find that when you go out there, you know how to bring up the children. There is this emotional connection, because remember, again, you need to have this connection with your young children when they are still young. And if you miss it, you have lost it. And therefore, there is a lot of hope. And also, I also encourage these groups of accountability, like-minded people, so that you are held accountable. Because again, when there is no accountability, you find that people just are just moving, because there is nobody who can tell you. So get the right people, get the right company, and you will be in a group which is going to encourage you to do, and at least somebody can tell you, apana, that one, don't do it. So I think there is a lot of hope, and I know going forward things are just going to be better. And where things are not working, God cares, and there can be a way. If there was a way in the Red Sea, there would be a way even in those marriages which are not working. There is a way. Don't give up in your marriages. Please work on them, and it will happen.
Wow, don't give up. I must really thank you for your time. Time is never enough.
Yes.
There's so much you've said in this book that we'd want to hear.
Yes.
And God giving us an opportunity will engage you, will continue engaging you on this.
Thank you.
But this is wonderful. It has been a wonderful even introduction to what she has written here, Preserving Marriage Institutions, a book by Agnes Macharia. And of course, if you would like to have a copy, because we just touched a bit of it, there's much more that she has said in the book. If you'd like to have a copy, you can contact CAC TV, you can contact Christian Education Department. You know how to find us. We're even out there on the social media. You know how to find us, and we'll connect you with her. I believe she can even come to your church, to your fellowship, to offer some guidance on this, to speak about these issues that she's tackled here. So that brings us to the end of our program today. I believe you have learned something, that it is possible to preserve the marriage institution, which is very, very foundational for everything else that we do. We are a product of our families, all of us. And so let's take care of that. Let's pray for marriages, let's pray for the families, and let's invest in there. Again, don't give up. Don't give up. There is hope, because our hope is founded on Jesus Christ. So take care until we meet again. May God bless you and keep you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.